Hello and welcome back to Random Librarian here on YouTube. Today I want to be rating some covers from books that I've recently purchased because I'm getting more into the more adult side of fantasy. And some of these covers are a lot. So I figured we could laugh at them together and go from there. And speaking of fantasy, the reason that I'm kind of transitioning like this is because I've loved young adult fantasy for basically my entire life. And then getting on TikTok, I started seeing more aged up versions of tropes and this genre that I've loved for such a long time. So I figured, why not? I think most of these recommendations are from Mimo Reads. So if you follow her on TikTok, you'll probably recognize some of these. So first of all, we have these two books. And these are just kind of like standard book covers. There's nothing really cringy about them. They feel very YA, even though we got some Bow Chicka Wow Wow going on. So this is from Blood and Ash, which I have read, and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which I have barely started. And this isn't having to do with the covers, but some of the writing in this made me very confused. They're so popular. Was there an editor for this one? Because there are certain sentences, and I only marked down one of them because I'm still not used to tabbing things, but where just the tense that is used is completely incorrect. I noted how rapidly his breathing had become. It's either I noticed how rapid his breathing had become, or I noticed that his breathing was coming rapidly, I believe, is how that would work. But I read that, I stopped and read that sentence a full 5 times trying to be is that right? Or have I lost my mind? And there was a couple times where that happened. That was the only one I took pictures of. So, covers, totally fine. Very, non-offensive. The writing gives me pause. So the rest of these I haven't read yet, so I can't say anything about the writing. Storylines, I can just talk about the covers. I think the ones that I like best out of the ones that I'm going to show you today are these two. So this is The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen, which is a duology by Danielle L. Jensen. And I have seen people say that they really hate these covers, but I don't mind them at all. I think it's kind of cool. It feels a little bit like it was painted on a canvas and then digitized a little bit, you know? Kind of reminds me of the books that I was very drawn to as a kiddo because I thought that they looked more adult and more cool. I especially like this one when the main female character actually looks like she has armor on and has some substance to her, because she looks like she could be blown away by a gust of wind on this first one. I think they're cool. They look kind of spooky. They give you a vibe of what's going on. And we got both of our two main characters on the covers. So these I like. They're also matte and floppy, which are big reasons that I love books to hold in my hands. So these are definitely up there. They actually might be up there above From Blood and Ash because this is not matte. It's not quite shiny, but it's not soft. You know what I mean? So this is up there. It might be number 1, it might be number 2. Then I think after that, I like Master of Crows by Grace Draven best. I have a lot of Grace Draven, so just be aware that there's a bunch of covers coming your way. So this is Master of Crows. It's also that soft matte. We're getting some of that romance cover vibes on the front, but make it high fantasy. We got the crow coming out of his hair. We're in the mountains, there's mist, and you still get the there's magic happening vibes, but you also kind of get the it's a bodice ripper. Except instead of having it be him showing off his front side, we have her back, which is not actually as weirdly sexual, at least in my opinion. I could be wrong about that, just because we have backless dresses, even though hers kind of looks like it got torn in half. But I don't mind this cover. that's what it boils down to. Then we start getting into the more questionable covers. So this one's kind of cool. You don't really get the romance side of it. but it's very clear that she's got some magic going on. There's just something about this cover that strikes me as a little weird, and I don't fully know why. It feels like maybe it should be on like a t-shirt. Like, you know, like the wolf howling at the moon, or like the fairies. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Which isn't bad per se, it's just, it feels very dramatic, and yeah. But she is, I think, a phoenix, because it's called Phoenix Unbound, and she gets burned alive a whole bunch in order to keep other women from her village from getting burned alive. So, there's a lot going on here. It's below Master of Crows because it's not soft, it's just flat. It's also not shiny, so it's above the ones that I'm going to show you next. I think next would have to be these two, which is from Thea Harrison. And I've heard really good things about this, kind of like better versions of Akatar, I think is how I saw it described. Because it's a mortal person and like the most powerful, whatever it is, the Terence Soul one. I fully don't know. I bought them because they were recommended. And these are actually the less offensive versions of the cover. These are standalones set in the same universe, and I think there's a whole bunch of them, like over 10. And I'm very interested in them just for magic and fantasy stuff. This one on the back has a bit of a interesting opening line. It says, "A queen on the brink of sanity has no one to rely on except the warrior whose conviction is every bit as strong as his passion." So I don't really know how much I'm gonna end up cringing. I'm really picky when it comes to romance, so I'm hoping that the fantasy side of it and like having magic and stuff will make me like it more. But I'm probably gonna do videos on all of this as well, just because it's not my standard setup. Then this next one is this series from Draven. As you can see, they are very shiny. We got some face holding on the covers. The proportions of their faces just feel really off to me, which is something that I don't love. I think they're a little bit better in this one, but this one, it just, they don't look like they're from the same picture. It just, I don't like it very much. I just think it's gonna be funny to try and figure out how to take pictures of these and talk about them on Instagram. And then also, usually I give away books after I've read them, and I'm like, will I? I don't know. Especially because when it comes to picture taking, they're so shiny that it's hard to even show them on video. So taking pictures is also very hard. I think another reason why I like this one better is because they're both kind of in shadow and it's like a little bit more spooky. Whereas in this one, she looks like she's glowing and he looks like he's in shadow somewhere. I'll figure it out. And then second to last, we have this C.L. Wilson book. And this one is the Terence Soul. So I was wrong about the dragon elder races one. So this is the one that was actually more Akatar-ish in terms of like the High Lord, the most powerful, whatever. And then like the beloved, the mate, the equivalents of Farah. So it's just, it feels kind of like this is from the movie Aladdin, when like the thing collapses into the sand. And this just is an awkward way to stand. Like, what is this? If that's how you make magic happen, your wrists are gonna get so sore so quickly. Like just holding this, like my hands like this, not very comfortable. Don't recommend. And the magic just looks like stars, like weird little stars. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't really know what the Dragon Races one was about now that I'm thinking that I get them mixed up. Anyways, my least favorite, and this is a book that I saw Mimo Reads recommend like a lot, like over a couple videos. It's this one. It's very shiny. That dress is like, gosh, I don't know, like a 80s movie dress. the fur on the sleeves, like that's not gonna keep you warm. The veil, like he's the Winter King and he's wearing short sleeves. Also, do people like stand like that to have a conversation? Or even to like make out? Like that just doesn't seem like it would be good for either situation. Yeah, I mean, she's got the Bookstagram crown, so, you know, she's got that going for her. Or BookTok crown, I guess they're the ones who did the crown thing. I think that I'm gonna like come up with my own cover design for this and either paint over it or make a sleeve for it and paint that, because I showed this cover to a friend of mine. She's like, you're not allowed to destroy that. That is art. I disagree, but in order to avoid her getting mad at me, I might make a sleeve. So those are books that I've purchased recently that are, I think, more on the spicy side of adult fantasy books. I have no idea what I'm getting into, but I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've read these before, or if you have any idea. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you'd like to see videos on any of these, also let me know that in the comments down below. And until next time, happy reading, and I'll see you soon. Bye!